up, guys? How we doing? How we feeling? Yeah? Awesome. What was that? Energized. Love it. How's everybody else feeling? What else we got? Shout it out. Magnificent. Phenomenal. Like $1 million. All right. I'm really, really excited to be up here with you guys today. So, first of all, sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to be real honest. Colin just crushed it. Can we just, give another round of applause? I thought that was awesome. One thing that I want to start off with, obviously, I've been in the business for a little while. I haven't quite hit Hall of Fame yet. I'm really, really close, going to hit it, in the next few months, so I'm super pumped about that. But one thing that I want to talk about real quick is who has some, badass CSPs on their events team? Right? Everybody, right? Who's worked with a lot of those badass CSPs at an event? Who here's a badass CSP, by the way? Awesome. So I love working with everybody on my team. I love working with, I have Ryan Megna, Alicia Anderer. She's awesome. She's one of my best friends. If you guys don't know who she is, she just got promoted to, she's basically on the same level as Josh for the national event stuff. If you don't get a chance, you should definitely get a chance to talk to her while you're here. Regardless, working sometimes with these CSPs can be a little intimidating. Anybody felt that way before? Right? You watch them close something, and you're like, how the hell did they just do that? It's like the person who walks up who is I don't know, they're definitely drunk, or they have few teeth or whatever, and then they're walking away with an ultimate with steak knives, and you're like, what? Or have you ever been there where you're like, man, if so-and-so had that customer, if Brandon Brown had that customer, if Josh Mueller had that customer, if Alicia Anderer had that customer, they definitely would have closed that. Have you ever felt that way? Yeah, it's a shitty feeling. I know the thoughts you guys have had. I know the questions that you've asked and the things that make you feel or think, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Has anyone ever felt that way? Yeah. Comparison is the thief of all joy. I was doing it to myself yesterday. I was watching all these amazing speakers up here, people who have sold millions of dollars of Cutco, just watching how they present themselves on stage, how they go through their talks. And I was excited because it was kind of influencing some of my perspective of how I wanted to deliver my message to you guys. But I was also like, damn, I am not as good of a professional speaker as they are, obviously. But maybe you could ask yourself a different question. What could I be doing better? What am I already doing great that I can improve upon? I'm going to be real honest with you guys that I'm not perfect. The people that are in that Hall of Fame breakout, they're not perfect. This is something that did not come natural to me, yet here I am giving my first talk at NET, my 5th year attending. Thanks. I'm still chasing that perfect lap that Brandon talked about yesterday. So who wants to get into understanding how to present the value of Cutco to people who already own it? You ready? Our job is to create a need for them to have nothing but our products in their kitchen and their family's kitchens. Past customers are easy money. So I have 2 main meat and potato things I'm going to go over in this talk for you guys today. And then I'm going to go over just some random tips at the end. But the 2 main meat and potatoes, I'm going to actually kind of start where Colin ended. So I'm going to start with engagement and bringing them to the booth and what happens in those first few minutes of your interaction with the customer. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about is engagement. And then the second thing that we're going to talk about is programs. And I know you guys have heard a lot about some of this stuff from yesterday, programs, from how to interact with people. one, it's never bad to hear something twice, right? Two, the way that I always approach a talk is, what if I had to give this talk next year? So, like, I was taking furious notes on Josh's talk, on Curtis's talk, on Brandon's talk. That's almost word for word on my laptop, because I was like, okay, if I were to give this speech tomorrow, would I be able to do it? It helps me learn better. So let's talk about engagement. Think about when you're walking around a mall, not working a mall kiosk, when you're walking around a mall, and there are people who, they have like a table set up with clipboards, and they're like trying to save the planet, or like, hey, I can lower your energy bill, or whatever. And they're like, oh, like, do you want to sign up for this really quick? It's going to save you a bunch of money on your car insurance or whatever. And you're like, no, I'm good. And you just keep walking, try and run around it. Or you see them, and you're like, I'm going to walk that way instead. Sometimes I see reps do something similar to this with a service call. When they see someone, they're like, oh, I've had my Cutco for 20 years. You're like, have you ever had it sharpened? Come here. We can sign you up for that. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm good. That's not, it's a weak way to get someone interested in talking to you. I'm going to be completely honest. One way that might work better is if they're walking by, oh, I've had my Cutco for 20 years, but those people that they're out there, and they're walking by being like, yeah, I have Cutco, and it's great. And you're like, oh, wait, come back. Like, I want to talk to you. They're all the way out there. My favorite is like, oh, which ones do you have? And then they're like, oh, now I have to walk over there and show them, because they want to tell you about it. The people that come up, they're like, I have this one, and I have this one, and I have this one. And you're like, please stop getting your fingerprints all over my knives. That's the worst, right? Like, oh, now I have to pull out the polishing cloth, whatever. But you're getting them excited, because what do people love to do? They love to talk about themselves, right? Do that right away. It's going to get them more interested. Then you can ask about the happy customer list is one thing. I've also seen people do this where they're like, oh, sign our happy customer list. Just hearing the word sign, they're immediately like, I don't want to come talk to you because I don't want to sign up for something. So build that trust first, talk to them, then ask about the happy customer list. Getting them to sign that, just jotting down their name, how long they've had it, what their favorite thing is about Cutco. Because what else does that do? That reaffirms to themselves why they love the product, how long they've had it, and then how long they've had it for, which is going to be key for later price positioning. Or you don't have to start with the happy customer list. You can just be like, how long have you had your Cutco? 20 years? Awesome. High five. I give high fives all day at the booth for everything. And it's like, I don't even know what to, everything. They're just talking about, oh, my daughter went off to school, she goes to so-and-so university, and it's like, oh, awesome, high five, that's exciting. Just getting them engaged. But one thing that is important is when you ask them, how long have you owned Cutco, you also then note for yourself how familiar they are with the current pricing of Cutco. That's one thing that you can never assume. Have you guys ever had that where you just assume because they have Cutco that they're familiar with the pricing? You're like, yeah, the price of this ultimate upgrade is $17 whatever. And they're like, whoa. Or table knife is $43. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, calm down, Mrs. Jones. You probably paid $30 for it. Did it really go up that much? Yeah, right? Preach. Another good question is asking them, how did you get introduced to Cutco? One thing that I want to know is, are they used to getting good deals? Did they buy through a catalog? Did they buy through Johnny New Rep, who goes to college and called them up because they got referred to them? Were they paying retail, online? Did they buy at a show? So those are the things that I want to know, is how do they get introduced to Cutco? What's their initial mindset going into this interaction anyway? You guys all have those people that come up and they're like, oh, I don't want to buy anything. I just want to tell you this really long story about how I got my Cutco, or how I almost cut my finger off, or whatever. And you're just like, uh-huh. But how can you turn those into a different interaction? appease them at first, to an extent. There's some people where you're like, okay, you just got to stop. I don't say that, but fine. I just kind of, how Colin did like the disengage, that's the best way to do it. Just turn away. All right. Now let's get into piquing their actual interest. So this is just in the first few seconds of conversation. What I want you guys to be thinking about is, what are you saying right away to start planting? Remember how we talked about planting seeds yesterday? What are you going to start planting seeds right within the first few minutes of conversation to set the stage for the rest of the interaction? So one thing that I like to say is, by the way, Mrs. Jones, we have quite a few new customer-requested products, packages, and programs designed for Cutco owners like you that have come out over the last couple of years that you probably haven't seen yet. Sure. By the way, we have quite a few new customer-requested products, packages, and programs designed for Cutco owners like, designed for Cutco owners like you that have come out over the last couple of years that you probably haven't seen yet. You guys have all had that person that comes up, oh, I get the catalog. And you're like, yeah, but this isn't in there. The cookware's not in there. You don't see this. You don't even probably know that we make flatware. You don't know that we have a family program, all this stuff. But they act like they know it all, right? And you're like, oh, that's awesome that you get the catalog. That's amazing. Actually, let me tell you about what's not in our catalog. And building the urgency for now, because this is the biggest event, because this is the most attended state fair or wine festival, food festival, whatever it is, Cutco allows us to do some exclusive packages and programs that you normally wouldn't see anywhere else. So again, that was one whole sentence. By the way, we have quite a few, well, not a sentence, but one whole statement. By the way, we have quite a few new customer-requested programs, packages, products designed for Cutco owners like you that have come out over the last couple of years that you probably haven't seen yet. Because this is the biggest home show that we do in this area, Cutco allows us to do some exclusive packages and programs that you normally wouldn't see anywhere else. Then you gain permission. I'll give you a quick update. I'm going to go real fast. Is that okay with you? So I'll give you a quick update. I'm going to go real fast. Is that okay with you? One thing, too, with building urgency is how I said, oh, because it's the biggest home show that we do in this area, it could literally be like this small little strawberry festival that you do in like bum F middle of nowhere. But it could be the biggest event you do in bum F middle of nowhere. So build that up. Another question I like to ask, because there are some people who don't want to hear the whole spiel, and they're like, honestly, I actually already know what I want. So sometimes if I can kind of get that feel from them, I'll say, do you already know what you're looking for, or are you open to suggestions? Do you already know what you're looking for, or are you open to suggestions? Still with engagement here, got a few more points left, but what we don't know are the things that can hurt us. So you want to find out right away who does most of the cooking and who makes the decisions for the kitchen. If it's both of them there, engage both of them. You know how sometimes you'll have like Mr. Jones over here just picking the knives out of the set, and Mrs. Jones is the one that's engaged with you, and you're like, stop looking at all this shiny shit, just like pay attention. Figuring out what you can do to bring him back into the conversation, or vice versa, whoever it is. And remember that not only do they love Cutco, but they love giving Cutco to other people. Our job is just to show them, not sell them. One of the big things that I've been making a focus on this last year is keeping in mind the expectations that they may be bringing into the conversation. I, of course, have my own expectations. I want them to buy everything. But most people do not walk up to our booth expecting to walk away having purchased a $1,700 upgrade or having purchased a flatware cookware package, and yet they still do. Why? They didn't know what they didn't know before this conversation started. So you have set new expectations. How many of you guys shot yourself in the foot when you were new with customers by giving them like a buy two, get one free? And then they come back next year and they're like, I want the same thing. And you're like, damn it. What was I thinking? And now that's what they want all the time. So this is your opportunity to set new expectations. Retrain them on how to buy Cutco, which should be in bulk. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but never assume that they know the current pricing of Cutco or that they remember the guarantee. Ask them if they remember how much their set was when they bought it. Have you guys ever had those people where they're just like wheeling and dealing with you, and they're like, all right, homemaker set, $1,000, I'll walk away with it right now. And you're like, hell no. This is just a little side note, but I wanted to throw this one in here because I've been using it a good bit with some of those people, is explaining to them there's only so much Cutco will approve, and there's only so much that I can afford with someone who wants to get a really good deal. There's only so much Cutco will approve and only so much I can afford. So I want to get you a good deal, Mr. Jones, and I'm willing to work with you, but I just have to let you know there's only so much I can afford. Some other questions really quick. Have you added to your collection since your first purchase? How are those knives being stored? Because what is that setting us up for? Block sets, an upgrade. Sometimes I'll ask them, like, are you mainly just looking for the, because sometimes they'll be like, well, what do you have specials on? And I'm like, well, are you mainly just looking for the knives? Because we also have flatware, we have cookware, we have this, whatever. If they're mainly just looking for the knives, I keep it simple, and I present two options first. I say, well, just so you know, we've got two main specials for Cutco owners just like you. Do you want me to tell you about them? And I just told them, Cutco owners just like you. They're like, yeah, I want to be involved. Tell me, what's for me? 5-piece companion set. We don't duplicate any of the ones you already have. And the upgrade special. Those are like the two main things that I talk about. And I'll talk into phrasing. I'll go into phrasing for that in a minute. But again, those are the two main things that I talk about first. One thing that I put on my actions list from yesterday that I just thought I wanted to share with you guys is the progression that Josh was talking about, the package progression, is determining that. So when you're working with a Cutco owner, this might be different when you're working with a Cutco owner versus someone who doesn't already own Cutco. What's the first thing that you're focusing on? And then where do you move from there? For me, it's an upgrade and then straight into flatware. And then if they're like nix on the flatware, it's right into cookware. Nix on the cookware, or whatever, it could be a yes. We're just going to keep going through it. We're going to go to family program, business gifts, accessories, and sporting and outdoor packages. And that's my personal progression of how I go through everything. But I'm going to make sure that they know every single thing that we make and that they have an opportunity to buy that, whether it's now or in the future. So who wants to get into programs? Yeah. All right. So a lot of times I'll ask people before they even say that they get the catalog, it's, when's the last time you saw a catalog? Well, what's not in our catalog is our new programs. We have an upgrade program, family program, kitchen program, and business gift program. The upgrade program is my bread and butter. I strive to do every package, every customer, every time. And even if I can't gain traction on any of those other programs, I'm either selling an upgrade or at least getting them sold on the idea and some of the pieces to start, and the rest goes on the wish list. So the way that I present it, or one of the things that I say about it is with the upgrade program, this is where my customers love to start off with because this is the smartest way to add on any new pieces. You started off small, added on a few pieces, and you have nowhere to put them. Do you think that they can relate to that? Yeah. So they're like, oh yeah, like I had the homemaker, and then I like added on like the cheese knife because I saw it at Costco, and whatever. And you're like, well, now you have nowhere to put it, right? And they're like, I know. but it's my most used knife, but it's not in the block. Oh, we got to help you fix that. And know that when you've asked them already about the difference between, if you're like, hey, like, would you be interested in just adding a few more pieces, or we can show you some of like our block options, the upgrades. Even if you just get them to say yes to looking at 5 pieces, it doesn't mean that you can't sell them an upgrade. It's just where they're comfortable starting. You could still do a builder upgrade with a block and 5 knives. Or you could still build it up to a full ultimate. How many of you guys had people where you just started off with 5 knives and then you showed them something else and they were like, wait, I want that too. And it's like, oh, well, that actually is part of our upgrade program, and just moved into that. So the way that I present it, and this is like going to be a little bit of a chunk for you guys to write, so I'll try and go slow with it and probably repeat it once at least. So the way that I present it is we've had so many customers be like, I just want a full set, but they already have some of the pieces in the set. And they're looking at me and they're like shaking their head like, yeah, that's me. We've had so many customers be like, I just want a full set, but they already have some of the pieces in the set. And then to complete their sets, they were buying knives a la carte and were spending so much more money, which Cutco loved, but we didn't really feel good about it. So we came up with this program to help you upgrade to a set. Basically, most people build up to our complete set anyway. So we give you credit for all the knives that you already have off of the set. You keep those. We send you the block and tools that you're missing, and you just pay the difference between the two. And when I explain that to people, it just makes so much sense to them. They're like, okay, so I keep my stuff. You guys send me what I'm missing, and I'm just paying the difference between what I have and what I'm missing. Oh, awesome. Let me hear more about that. Do you guys want me to repeat that? Yeah. Okay. We've had so many customers be like, I just want a full set, but they already have some of the pieces in the set. And then to complete their sets, they were buying knives a la carte, and they were spending so much more money, which Cutco loves, but we didn't really feel good about that. So we came up with this program to help you upgrade to a set. Basically, most people build up to our complete set anyway. So we give you credit for all the knives that you already have off of the set. You keep those, and we send you the block and tools that you're missing, and you just pay the difference between the two. Find out what they have and keep it really simple. A couple weeks ago, I was at a home show, and I sold a $2,000 Ultimate Upgrade ROR. Really fun. I actually loved it. It was really fun. But they had 8 table knives and 4 random other pieces. So to keep it super simple, I explained you'll get all the basic pieces. So like the bread knife, the carvings, because they didn't have any of the homemaker pieces. They just had like a cheese knife and cheese santoku or something. I explained you'll get all the basic pieces, so like the bread knife, the carving set, the chopping knife, utility and pairing. That's how I describe the basic set, by the way. Bread knife, carving set, chopping knife, utility and pairing. And then, in addition, and I went over the rest of the knives that come in the set. One thing that I learned from Josh Muller a few years ago, by the way, is that it's just 9 knives. So show them the 9 knives that you like the best, which is what I personally keep displayed on my red board. So I actually, like when I do put knives out, because we don't always do every event with knives, I have homemaker pieces on one red board, and then I have my ultimate upgrade on the other red board. For me, in my ultimate upgrade, I actually keep pieces like the cleaver underneath my red board and just have displayed the Santoku style slicer, the vegetable knife, the 7-inch Santoku, the bird's beak, and then the companion set pieces, which are the 4-inch paring knife, the Hardy slicer, petite Santoku, cheese knife, and boning knife. And that's what I keep out. And that's what I explain to them that comes in the set. If that's not what you want, that's cool. But there's a lot of options. If they have some of those already, throw in some of their favorites. Who wouldn't love a second of their favorite and most used knife? And keep your setup simple and within the sets. So like I said, on the first breadboard, I have like all the homemaker pieces. Then on the next breadboard, my first 5 are what come in my companion set, so the 5 pieces that I sell most often just separately, and then the rest of the upgrade. So it's like, here's your basic set, here's the medium set is where I have like cheese knife, petite santoku, hearty slicer right next to it, and then the rest of it. And then when you're explaining the pricing, show them what they get. Normally, it's going to be blank, but we give you this credit, this is how much everything that you have is worth off of this price, and then you're paying this difference. So this is how much this is worth, how much you're getting credit for, and this is what the difference is. For that order that I did, where I was talking about that ROR upgrade, I didn't get any pushback, but there was a distinct one that I do remember, a different upgrade, Sharon Dunn at the mall kiosk, who I did a free steak knife upgrade for just to close the order. But I did it with the full price that's in the Vast Action special binder. So it was like a $1,700 order, and I was like, yeah, but we can just upgrade you to the steak knives for free. And I think I ended up bonusing like just 2 knives total on this $1,700 order. And stack the value. Talk about free shipping. What most people do is they split it up. Basically, we take whatever credit or debit card you want to use, and we automatically charge it for you every 30 days for 5 months. There's no interest or credit checks. So with tax, it would just be blank a month for 5 months. And then be like, and just so you know, that gets you, and then re-go over all of the pieces that they're getting. And stack that value, plus free shipping, plus this. Buying a few knives at a time with Cutco is the most expensive way to buy Cutco. So Mrs. Jones, if you do the upgrade package, you'll be one and done and not have to worry about buying knives ever again. You'll just have to use and enjoy your set for the rest of your life. Plus, you'll save a ton of money and you'll be happier using the full set sooner rather than later. And of course, Mrs. Jones, the best part is you're a third of the way done to the Cutco kitchen. So a couple other nuggets really quick. I have a few minutes left. Family program, you guys got a lot from Curtis yesterday, so I'm not really going to go into that too much. However, I will say that it is important to mention it to everybody. I had one of those customers at a home show a couple weeks ago where she was like, oh, I get the catalogs. Like, I don't need to see anything. I was like, oh, well, actually, the programs that are not in our catalog are this, this, and this. And then she was like, wait, what's the family program? And I was like, oh, well, it's where we help you with getting Cutco for your family. She's like, well, my daughter's getting married. And I was like, boom. Then the kitchen program. So that's one thing that everybody should be talking about is kitchens. Even if they already have the knives, it's where they have their dream set of knives, dream set of flatware, dream set of cookware, all of the gadgets and accessories. So we don't just offer knives, we offer everything. Flatware, mats, accessories, cookware. This is a new program, but you can still get the discounts when you add to your Cutco collection. And then talking about package deals. The end goal for all of our clients, Mrs. Jones, whether you start with it or work up to it slowly, everyone eventually works up to it, but you'll save the most amount of money doing it in one shot or by taking advantage of one of our package deals. And have your elevator pitch ready for each of those different sections, for the knives, for the upgrade, for the flatware, for the cookware. When you get them on the upgrade, saying just because of what you're getting, it actually qualifies you guys for one of our best package deals. And if you are in the market for flatware or whatever it is that you're talking to them about, and if you are in the market for flatware, you like the Cutco flatware, and you think it would be a good investment in the future, just because you're here right now, if I were to do a super turbocharged deal to where it made sense to get them both in a package today and you could still budget it, would you be open to getting it? And asking those questions, do you see yourself eventually getting it? Is it something you could be in the market for now? Talking about the 10-pay. Has anybody here ever done a 10-pay order before? A couple of you guys? where you get them on something first and then make sure you explain to them that 6 months from now you're going to get the rest of it. But it's not a Cutco program, Mrs. Jones. This is something that I do for my customers who want a great deal and want to buy here. So what I'll do is, if we can't do it right now, I just did one of these where this was for a new customer, but they bought the set, and then they have the flatware coming up in, I think, like March or something like that. Where basically gave them the set first, pay that over the 5 months, and then they're just going to start the flatware, and that's already confirmed to go through. But getting them on those discounts, building up, again, the urgency of buying here. So my time's just about up. It is up, actually, but really quick, last couple of things. Remember that a majority of the Cutco owners that you work with have never had a seasoned rep like yourself. So this is not just a one-time exchange. You want to set the expectation for further interactions in the future. So I already talked about setting the expectations in the beginning of how the whole interaction is going to go, and you want to keep that expectation for anything further in the future. So what do you say at the end of your interaction that makes the customer feel good about working with you today? What's going to set you up for down the road? And I just say, by the way, Mrs. Jones, I know that you got your Cutco from a college kid who did it for a summer. I've actually been with Cutco for 8 years. What I do is I just keep in touch with you over the years. I let you know when I'm in your area, if there's something new going on, if we're doing an event near you. That way, if you need help with getting something sharpened, you need a gift, you want to add on to your set, you always know how to get a hold of me. Do you think that makes them feel pretty good? So they're like, oh, cool. Like, she's like legit. Every person has a different reason for coming up to the Cutco booth, but they want to be there. So don't be shy trying to sell them. They already love the stuff, so it's an easy decision for them to buy more. If they're going to get it eventually anyway, it might as well be with you. Thanks, guys.